Now, live from Boston is Sean Spicer, Communications Director for the RNC. Sean, good morning. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Thomas. Great to be with you.
So what's your reaction to Newt Gingrich's comments there, and how do you think it's playing over with those in attendance? Is the Republican Party going to listen to that? Because it seems as if he's almost calling them out for bucking the RNC's listed goals after the spring autopsy of 2012.
Well, specifically on Obamacare, what the Speaker went on to say was that while Republicans have solutions on health care, he believes that they should be wrapped up in a comprehensive way to pose a clear alternative to Obamacare as opposed to different legislative solutions that address specific aspects of health care. But to the broader point, I think that the chairman echoed that afterwards, which is, you know, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can be critical of the current administration, the Democrats and the liberals and their policies, but we do need to present America with a much more positive image of why our party is better for freedom, for equality, for opportunity for every American, and that's something that we're going to continue to work on.
Okay, so then since the spring autopsy, what specifically have Republicans done to institute the RNC's mandate that came out of that? I mean, there was the discussion of the Growth and Opportunity Inclusion Council. Has that started?
Yes. I think you saw Chairman Priebus was at the NAACP meeting. A month ago, he spoke to the Black Chamber of Commerce. He spoke to NALEO, a Hispanic organization. He has spoke to countless Asian organizations throughout the country. And some of these don't get national attention and get picked up, but he's been out in California, Georgia, Texas, going around the country, not just with the national groups, but sometimes with state and local organizations that deal with different communities and having these meetings. But yes, on a countless basis, on a daily basis, we are reaching out to communities that we traditionally haven't been involved in the past.
You know, Newt Gingrich also said that the party should be more about hope, more of a hopeful message coming from the GOP. I just want to play part of that. Take a look.
What we have to do, in a sense, is be a party of optimism and a party of hope. I think part of what we have to do in the era of Obama's disaster is we have to get beyond being anti-Obama, and we have to reconvince people that you can have hope in America, that we can have a better future.
So, Sean, how would you recommend that if people are going to get in line and fall behind that message on the right, that hardline conservatives or Tea Partiers like Ted Cruz, how do you get through to somebody like them, someone who is in D.C. and has been in D.C. threatening to shut down the government over the Affordable Health Care Act, or Steve King, who's called many young undocumented immigrants drug mules?
Well, one of the things that we're doing right now, literally right now at the meeting, is we're highlighting some of what we're calling our rising stars. So there are 4 individuals that people can go online, and we'll have them prominently featured on GOP.com, where we're highlighting people like T.W. Shannon, the Speaker of the Oklahoma State House, Marilyn Garcia, a state representative from New Hampshire, where we're going out there and saying the Republican Party is not inclusive of everything that goes on in Washington, D.C. We've got tremendous city council members, mayors, state legislators, governors. We need to highlight those people, grassroots conservatives at the local and state level, who are doing amazing things making this country a better place. And so part of what we've got to do is stop focusing entirely on everything that happens in Washington, D.C. and highlighting the great people that make our party so strong throughout the country.
Sean, the website that you mentioned, if you go there, the first thing that you see is sign the petition against CNN and NBC right now. And the RNC has threatened to end its partnership with NBC and CNN in hosting the 2016 GOP primary debates if they don't cancel plans for the biopics about Hillary Clinton. Now, the Wall Street Journal has an opinion piece out today criticizing the plan, saying, God grant Reince Priebus the serenity to accept liberal media bias, the courage to change who moderates presidential debates, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think people will recognize the serenity prayer there, but you're going to be voting on this tomorrow. No one is blinking at CNN or NBC Entertainment. So are you making a huge mistake with this ultimatum?
No, not at all. I think, look, no one had a problem when Chris Matthews moderated 2 Republican debates, and that's just insane. The notion that we would allow a Democratic operative to moderate a debate between our candidates is crazy. So why is it that we can't stand up for once as a party and say we should actually start to have networks and moderators that care about who the best candidate is, who are going to represent the questions and concerns of our grassroots when it comes to debates, and not get tagged and pulled around by media companies and moderators that have an agenda of their own.
But does that mean you just want to scream into an echo chamber, as you're saying you're trying to go around the country and meet with different organizations, different community outreach programs that were decided through the RNC's autopsy, And now you're just going to say, well, we're going to take our marbles and go home because you think that there is implicit bias because someone asks hard questions?
I think there's a big difference, Thomas. I think what this comes down to is saying we're not going to commit political malpractice and allow people who have a particular agenda tilting the scales against us to then get in the middle and decide who our nominee is going to be. But there are countless networks and opportunities. Conservative talk radio has a tremendous reach. There are other networks. I mean, I can just start naming them. I apologize, but on your network, but Bloomberg, ABC, Univision, Telemundo, you can go down the list. NBC and CNN are not the be-all and end-all of how people get their news, and we can find different ways of whether that's C-SPAN, live streaming. There are ways to get our message out to reach voters that don't start and end with NBC and CNN.
All right, Sean Spicer. We'll wait to see how that vote goes. RNC Communications Director Sean Spicer. Good to see you. Enjoy Boston, sir.
Thank you, Thomas.
Absolutely.